Now, the head of the Hawks in Limpopo, Major General Gopal Govender, is concerned that drug syndicates are using remote farms for their operations. He was commenting after the discovery of a multi-million rand drug manufacturing lab outside Messina in Limpopo, a joint law enforcement operation by the Hawks, SABC, Crime Intelligence, as well as Narcotics Bureau, making that particular bust. And we understand 4 people were arrested in a similar case. You'd remember about 2 years ago. This is after a 2 billion rand drug was found, in fact, a drug farm was found on a farm there in Groblersbridge, also in Limpopo. So let's just bring you some of what we know so far before we bring in the Commissioner of Limpopo. So we understand that this was a joint intelligence-driven raid that has uncovered this particular lab that was allegedly operating at this particular farm in Messina. 600 million rand worth of meth equipment, also cash being seized at that particular place. And then at the same time, we do understand that there was this probe that police had been carrying out investigations that then led to this particular, farm. But we'll get more details about that in just a moment. And then at the same time, when you look at the operation in itself, right? We do understand that the Hawks, the SABC, US agencies were also working together as far as this operation is concerned. And then also this particular drug crackdown is quite significant, especially when you look at just how big that operation appears to have been there. And this is not the first time that the province of Limpopo is finding itself in the spotlight for such. And then also you look at this particular operation, it's described as industrial scale, and it speaks about just how wide it was. So as far as distribution is concerned, one wonders where exactly were some of these destinations. So we do understand that 5 people have been arrested, 2 Mexican nationals, 2 Zimbabwean nationals, as well as 1 Malawian national. And suspects then, we understand, are due to appear in court next week. And now this becomes part of the critical conversation around the trails and where to from here as far as investigations are concerned. So let's get into this conversation in greater detail to understand what would have exactly happened here as far as this particular matter is concerned, because there's a lot to talk about, especially when you think about a number of things that would have been said, spoken here. We speak to the Commissioner of Limpopo, Lieutenant General Jan Scheepers, for more on this. And good evening to you, Commissioner, and thank you so much for your time. Perhaps we start with breaking news at this hour, where we are being told that there was a consignment of around 2 million worth of illicit cigarettes that were discovered. What else do we know?
Ma'am, good evening to yourself and all your viewers. Yes, as you know, we've intensified our operations on the border, like we've promised the community that we will focus on the border. So at Groblersbridge today, we also confiscated 4,800 cartons of cigarettes to the value of almost 2 million rand. So what happened there? There was a truck. All the cigarettes were, it's this truck that's normally conveying the coal. So underneath the coal, we got information from the community and we stopped the truck. And when we inspected the truck, the cigarettes was underneath the coal. So also in that case, we arrested 2 Zimbabwean nationals that were trying to smuggle those cigarettes into the country.
And when it comes then to the earlier operation that, your members would have been involved in, we also saw you there in the visuals even earlier on speaking about this particular operation. How did this particular breakthrough come about? Because I understand there had been work that had been done for about 2 months watching the story.
I must first of all commend our community members, because remember, police cannot fight crime alone. We do that with the help of our community. So community gave us information. We were monitoring the place for about 2 months. And then there was a multidisciplinary operation early last night up until late this afternoon, where we execute our operation. And it was the Hawks from National Office, from the Provincial Office. It was the crime intelligence community. It was also members from the local police station and our task force members. So there we recovered on a farm. It's very secluded. It's an area where there's no movement. The road is terrible to go to the place. So you can see they are picking the spots long before the time. And during that operation, we recovered crystal meth, normally known on the street as stick, to the value of 600 million rand. In that operation, we also arrested 2 Mexican nationals, 2 from Zimbabwe and 1 from Malawi. So I'm very happy that really when the community provides information to us, that we really go there and execute the operation and we bring the results back to the community.
And it seems to be quite the sophisticated operation. And I wonder how important will it be for now then to follow the money, the networks and every other person that could possibly be connected to this?
I was very much impressed in how professional the lab was. So you can see it's not the first time. So definitely it links to other organized crime syndicates in the country. But we do have some information. We also confiscated all the laptops and the cell phones. So there will be further investigation. We do have some other information that we are busy following up, who brought the chemicals to the place and etc. So, but I don't want to divulge too much, but we are following up and I'm confident that we are going to make more arrests and hopefully dismantle this whole syndicate that is trying to destroy our community and our youth.
And when it comes then to the suspects themselves, because quite peculiar that we're seeing, you know, a mix of nationalities once again, as far as the bust is concerned, because I remember at some point there was another bust, you know, about 2 years ago that also pointed to, you know, some of the suspects who were Mexican nationals at the time. So what does this then tell you as the police, as you continue then your work to try and probe even possibly some other farms that you may be concerned about, possibly?
No, definitely. We've already given the instruction that we must go to all these farms, especially when you look at this farm, it was rented from the owner. So you will find that the owners is farm, but they are not here in the province. They are somewhere else in the country, and then they're renting it out to people that they might not even know what's happening on the farm. So we gave instruction to all our members to say, go and look at these farms, see what's happening on these farms. We are also concerned about the movement of Mexicans in our province, but we do have information through crime intelligence, through the DPCI, through our community, and we will follow up on all of these to see if we cannot. I'm confident there might be more drug labs in the province, but we do have all our boots on the ground. We're working with our community structures, and we will definitely not stop. This is not the last one. We are coming for them.
And I know that you say that, you know, even with regards to the illicit cigarettes, you know, operation, that you were also able to dismantle there, that you're now intensifying your efforts when it comes to the ports of entry. Let's speak about criminality there and what aspects of it for you concern you, because I know that we've spoken at length with a number of officials about criminality and, you know, allegations at Groblersbridge, for example. So for you, which are the areas of great concern?
The areas of great concern is definitely not only the port of entry, also the border itself. People are coming through the river, and we know that they are bringing in explosives, illegal cigarettes, firearms, and they are also taking vehicles that have been hijacked all over in the country through the river. So it's the whole borderline that's problematic to us, but we've increased our footprint. We're working very well with the SANDF, other private companies, for example, Tracker. We are working with our farming community. So there's a joint operation. It's multidisciplinary. We cannot do this on our own. So all the role players are really putting their boots on the ground, and we are trying to minimize the cross-border crimes that's really affecting not only this province. This province is only a gateway to the rest of the country. So we are really putting our boots on the ground and try to stop the cross-border crime that is terrorizing our country.
And just before I let you go, the suspects who are arrested in connection with the illicit cigarettes that were confiscated as well, when can we expect to see them in court? Any idea?
They will definitely appear in the Musina court on Monday.
All right. Appreciate your time, Commissioner. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That was the newly appointed Limpopo Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Jan Scheepers, there speaking to us about the drug bust that we saw earlier on today. And also now breaking news at this hour, a huge consignment of illicit cigarettes that they've managed to confiscate at the Groblersbridge Port of Entry in Limpopo. This just happened a few hours ago, and it comes just hot on the heels of this particular drug bust that is said to have taken place at an isolated, a secluded farm. So a lot of focus now by police, as he says, on some of these farms as to what exactly is going on there. It brings us to the bottom of the hour. Let's remind you of the top stories at this hour.